Life updates and new products galore. I don't know how we're going to do it today because I have a bunch of new products. I'm not going to be able to put them all on my face, but I can at least like swatch some of them and put them in video or in little videos in the corner so you can see. I went to Chicago last weekend to see Beyonce, and that was wonderful. I mean, amazing if you've never seen her. But I was able to pick up some new products, and then when I got home, I got some in the mail, and so I have a lot of new things to show off today, and then a few kind of classics, mixed in. But the main purpose today is to show off two of the new 4 YSL quads that are coming out for fall, summer fall. There's 4 coming out. There's a majestic red and an unexplored garden green that have yet to come out in the United States, but they've come out in parts of Europe and in Canada, so they should be here any day now. But there are 2 that have already released in the United States of the 4. Captivating Dunes and Sunrise Safari. Sorry, that sounds like a Pat McGrath palette. So we're going to look at those today and then mix in some others and just get some life updates. So I'm going to start with my D'Alba White Truffle Spray because my skin is very dry. I have not really caught up from the trip. It's been over a week and I just now have got the house back in some sort of order. So I'm going to just start with really easy, my Juvia's Place brow, and this is in the color brown or medium brown. This is not like my favorite. I like the Merit, I like the Benefit, but for something quick and easy, this is really great. Now, if you've been following my Instagram page, and if you haven't, please do. It's unsolicited advice, just like YouTube. I've been doing an appreciation of the 13 YSL quads that have come out in the United States so far. But that's been a lot of work in anticipation of these new ones that are coming. So, yeah, I've been dealing with that. I went to Chicago, got to see Beyonce, just a lot of really cool stuff. I guess what we'll do is start with the quads and then work our way through some of the other new products that I've got. I have something new from Isamaya, which is not, I had their 3 eyeshadow palettes from before they launched at Sephora, but this is the first thing I have from Isamaya since they launched at Sephora. I have a new liquid shadow from Armani Beauty, which was kind of a last minute emergency purchase. I have a new plumping lip gloss from YSL. I have both of the new Chanel stick blushes, so we'll try those today. And then I'm trying to think of what else is new. I have the new YSL blush that's released in the United States, Rose Haze. They have some more that are only in Europe, but I do have those on order. I also have the new YSL Highliner coming. And then I had the new Danessa Myricks Freedom mini palette, the pastel one. I won't be able to use it today, but I hope to use it soon. But I will put swatches up. I really enjoyed it. I used it while I was in Chicago. So yeah. Oh, and then that was loud. And then I have the Pat McGrath Glass 001 setting spray, which I used in Chicago. Really excellent. It's not going to give you like crazy shine like the mask that she put out earlier this year. But unlike the mask she put out earlier this year, this one you could actually wear and you can actually smile and it's not going to crinkle everywhere. That was for photography purposes. This is much more user-friendly. And if you did say 4 to 5 passes with it and let it dry for about a minute between each one, you could get something really glassy looking. I tried that while I was in Chicago and it looked really good. I'm going to start with my favorite eye primer, which is the Rare Beauty eye primer. So yeah, Chicago. Beyonce, that was amazing. I saw her a few years ago in Kansas City when she was in Kansas City for the Renaissance tour. But this one was in Chicago at Soldier Field, and I have never been to Soldier Field before. And it was really easy to get into and awful to get out of. I wore, I'll post a picture, some crazy shoes that were fantastic, and I got lots of comments on them. But you know, I think you probably had to walk 2 to 3 miles to get out of that place at the end of the night, because it's in a park, and you have to walk through the park, and then you had to get over the river to get over towards Michigan Avenue to even get in a position where you could pick up an Uber. So that was kind of nuts. But brilliant. So what we'll do is on one eye, it's going to look a little disjointed, but on one eye we'll do Captivating Dunes. And then on the other eye, sorry about my finger, I broke my fingernail yesterday. Not sure how that happened. We'll do the Sunrise Safari one. So I'm going to start with Sunrise Safari. And this is a very kind of pink color story. It's got some peach, a little mauve. There are a couple of similar ones that I'll put up in the corner so you can see how it compares. But I would say that with each new set of these that comes out, the formula gets better and better and better. So the topper shades of these two, and I'm sure the other two that are coming, are so much more refined and sparkly than even the previous versions. So although there are two others that have somewhat of a similar color story, you know, I really am enjoying these. This one's a little bit softer. I would say that the closest one to this might be the Spontini Lilies, but it's much softer than even this one. This has much more pigment. So let's go in. I've got a Rephr 13 Max, and I'm just going to go in with that top lightest color and put this to the crease. The thing I like so well about the YSL quads and the Prada quads too, and some Chanel ones, but the YSL ones are really great at just being one brush, and it's really hard to screw them up. They're so user-friendly, and the formula is so beautiful. And it works on, you know, a variety. I think it would look really well on, you know, if you had more mature lids. Since I'm only 19, you know, everything looks wonderful. Speaking of, I turned 43 this week, so not so excited about that, but whatever. It is what it is. So I've just done a beautiful wash, and you see how beautifully that blended out. I'm going to go in with the darker kind of milk chocolate color and build up some depth. This particular one does not have a ton of depth. It's more ethereal, but it's beautiful nonetheless. You can see you get a nice wash there. So I'm going to grab, there's kind of a rose color, and then there's a very light color. I'm going to grab the kind of rose color that's in here and put that on the majority of the lid. And if you wanted to intensify this, of course you could use a glitter glue or a Pat McGrath intensify wand, but you really don't get a ton of fallout from the YSL quads. So it would just be for intensifying purposes, because it wouldn't be to prevent fallout, because you don't really get a ton of fallout with them. See, that's a beautiful... I'm going to go back in with some of that chocolate color. It really is like a milk chocolate. There's not a ton of depth to it. There might be now that I'm starting to cry, unfortunately. So I wanted to go back into some of my favorites from earlier this year where I didn't have a new product to show off. And so I'm going to go into one of my favorite foundations that's come out this year. Maybe my favorite. I like the Givenchy a lot too. I guess they'd be tied, but it's the Dior Forever Nude. I'm going to go in with that, and then the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. They don't have a Forever Nude Concealer yet, but they do have the Skin Correct. So I'm just going to put some of that down here. And this is one with these YSLs that I could have done I don't know who is calling me. That phone is blowing up. I could have done my concealer first, and I wouldn't have to worry about it, you know, moving. In fact, you know what? Let's do that on the other side, because you'll see I won't get fallout from YSL. Let's go ahead and cover up some of the dryness that's up here. Okay. This is a good kind of staple concealer. Nothing too spectacular, but it works really well. I like the Dior Backstage one too. It's maybe a little bit lighter. This is maybe a little bit more full coverage. I did not get any of those new Dior blush sticks. I think they look kind of juvenile. The colors look pretty. I think the rosewood color in particular looks really pretty. But I don't know, there's something about them that looks just kind of juvenile to me. I'm hit or miss with Dior. In fact, there's some products I really like I like their the liquid luminizer blush things. I can't remember what they're called. I like their primers. Their foundations are normally pretty good, but then their eyeshadows I've never been a huge fan of. So I guess it just kind of depends. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put a primer down. Actually, what I'm going to do is I did pick up the new Merit, the Uniform, which is a sunscreen kind of under foundation. I tried it as a foundation itself. It doesn't really have much coverage. Very, very light, kind of similar to like a Lisa Eldridge. But the one thing about it is because it's so light coverage, you can really stretch it a long way. So although this looks much darker than my skin color, when I put it on and moved it around, it really worked well. And it's an SPF 45, so it's a good sunscreen, but I'm going to use it as a sunscreen slash primer today. You can see by itself it does get rid of some of the redness, but it doesn't have a ton of coverage. It's also not super shiny like the who was it, RMS. They have one that's kind of like this that I like a lot, but it's actually pretty shiny. This one is kind of a translucent wash. It kind of it would be like the love child of the RMS, but with the coverage of the Lisa Eldridge and more of the finish of the Lisa Eldridge. It's not as shiny as the RMS. But you can see, I mean, it does give some coverage. This would be, you know, really pretty to just wear by itself if you just didn't want to have too much, but you wanted to have some sunscreen. I would recommend, of course, using a brush or fingers with that product because if you use a sponge, it's just going to soak it up. It's very thin, but it's a very nice sunscreen you could wear by itself. Okay, so, or you can use it like I did today as a primer. I wanted to see, using it as a primer, how it would react with a foundation, especially a foundation that I use a lot. So I grabbed that Forever Nude from Dior. So we'll see how that works with that. It's had a few seconds to set. It looks really nice. So let's see. I'm just going to grab some of this, and I have, my Merit was in the shade 20, and this is in the shade 2.5N. I'll just pout some of this on. I really just want to see how a foundation that I really like this Dior, works with that sunscreen. If it breaks it up, or if it works really nice with it. I'm sure, I've read that it works really nice, obviously, with the Merit foundation stick. But I'm interested to see how it works with something that's a little bit more full coverage. Well, or at least medium. It's going on really smooth, this foundation. I will say that there's a little bit of tact from the sunscreen. I can feel that there's a little bit of tact. The brush is not just sliding over, but it's not in a bad way. It actually feels really nice. And while we've got that on, that looks really beautiful. And it does come through with a little bit of glow there too. I'm going to go ahead and set it just a little bit under the eyes and in the T-zone. And for that, I have my Chanel loose powder. And so I'm just going to do under the eyes. This is not my favorite under eye powder. I tend to like a pressed powder more, like the Givenchy or the Prada. But this Chanel is very good, and it's good as a face powder. I will say, when I was in Chicago, I finally was able to try and get a sample of that La Prairie powder that everybody talks about. Damn, that is nice. It is the finest powder, blurring powder I've ever felt. Okay, that looks nice. And I have my Chanel loose powder. This is the loose Libra Universal, and I have mine in 12. If we have similar skin tones. Okay, so let's go in and finish that eye up. So I'm going to grab some of that that top lighter color and run that under the eye a little bit. And a little bit of that kind of chocolate color, that milk chocolate color. It got a little harsh there, so I'm gonna, it's not a little harsh, it's quite harsh. I'm gonna diffuse that with whatever was left on my powder brush from Chanel. But you can see how easily the YSL quads even diffuse. That's really nice. So I'm going to go in with the top, which on this one is a kind of a peach, but it's, I noticed with these two in particular, the formulas got finer and finer and finer, and this one is looser than some of the others. It's more of an ethereal, like, sparkle. The one in Captivating Dunes, which we'll see in a minute, is very reminiscent of Astral Solstice from Pat McGrath. So I'm just going to put this. You can see if you don't rub it on, but you just tap it on, you can get that ethereal kind of wet look, which is one thing YSL does so well. And I'm going to put some on the inner corner. And then we'll come back to finish that look in a minute. But you can see that's a really pretty look. And this is the Sunrise Safari. Okay, so for the other one, why is this not shutting properly? Oh, because the little brush is in the way. The little brush that nobody uses, but whatever. Okay, we're going to do Captivating Dunes on the other side. Now this one, when I saw it, I thought it reminded me a lot of, is it Overbrune, and then also Storadol's, which is a favorite. probably their bestseller. But this one is cooler, and I think that the topper shade is so spectacular in this one. It really does remind me of Astral Solstice. And so I would say this is a really cool palette. This is Captivating Dunes. You can see it's got more of a gray shift to it. So let me grab a good refer brush. And by the way, I did that entire look with one refer brush. That's one thing I really, really like about these. On this one, I'm going to grab a Shodo number 2 from Refer, and I'm going to grab this grayish taupe color that's up at the top. It's just a really pretty color. This reminds me of a Prada color I like a lot. These Shodo brushes, you can get so precise with them. I'm gonna raise that up, but just up a little higher. It's such a cool color. And since I've already done the under eye, I can go ahead and do that on here too. Okay, so now this one's got a deep brown color in it. So I'm gonna grab that, not a ton, just a little bit, and kind of do this outer third a little bit and carry it over just for some definition. That is a deep, deep brown. If you were to grab both of these quads and you wanted to darken this one up, this would be a good brown to do that too. And just barely under the under eye. Now this one, I really want the star of this to be this topper shade here. So I actually am going to grab my Pat McGrath Intensify wand for this one, because I want you to see how close it is to like an Astral Solstice or something like that. It's just really beautiful. So I'm going to put this over the mobile lid and into the inner corner. Anywhere where I'm going to put a metallic or something high shine. And I could have done this on the other look, but I wanted to keep this one more kind of grounded. Okay, so this has 2 sparkles. I'm going to grab the bottom one, which is a metallic kind of satin color. Beautiful gray, but it even has like, it looks like it has some really tiny bluish kind of sparkles in it. And put that over, probably the inner half. I don't want to go all the way over, because like I said, I want the star of this to be that top, that topper shade. I'm going to grab a little bit more of that dark brown just for that edge where they meet. I don't want this to get too smoky, because it could easily. Okay, now I'm going to go in with this top, which is really spectacular. There's nothing quite like this that I saw from the other ones that have already come out. It's very loose. The sparkles are very suspended, and it has sort of white, gray, silver, taupe sparkles. Really beautiful and very translucent. This is going to be a big seller for them. Go in with a little bit more on the inner corner. And under just a little bit. And then I'm going to go kind of ham with the rest of it and just tap it higher than my crease. And a little bit even under the brow. It's a really beautiful quad. It would look more beautiful if I would stop crying, but I can't control that. I should like play it off like Patty Alonso. Remember that time she got that Pat McGrath quad and cried because it was so beautiful? And in her defense, it was that beautiful. So okay, that looks really nice. I love how cool and icy that looks. but it's not wintry. It's just very, yeah, it's just beautiful. Beautiful. That's going to be a huge seller for them. While I'm here and I've got eyeshadows out, I will say that I did grab that new Danessa Myricks Freedom Pastel palette. I tried it in Chicago. It was really beautiful. I will insert the little video about it now. But these are so nice because they pop in with her Freedom palette from last fall, where you can switch out the individual shades. You can switch out these with the other compacts that are in there. You can take some of the compacts out. You can stack them. You can add things from Groundwork in there. Just really cool. She is at the forefront of some really cool products right now. So on these, I actually, I wanted to try, and it's not a company I have a ton from. It's Stila, which have been around forever, but I don't have a ton from them. But somebody was telling me that a really good micro liner is Stila for a liquid liner. And Hourglass apparently has a very good micro pencil liner. But Stila, this Stay All Day dual-ended waterproof eyeliner on one side has the original, just kind of a traditional, but on the other side has a micro tip. And so I wanted to try that today because I've been kind of into these micro tip looks lately. So let's see what we can get here. I can tell you just feeling, my skin feels really nice with that Dior and that Merit sunscreen. I'm going to attempt to not fuck this up. No promises. That is a very tiny tip. The Lisa Eldridge one has a good tip like this too. That's pretty tiny. But you can see how detailed you can get. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then you can go in with the regular size tip, just the standard, to fill in along the line. And I'm just going to do like a little half. I'm not going to go all the way in. I don't have a lot from Stila. When I first started trying makeup, they had some palettes that I obviously gravitated towards in the beginning, and they were very nice. I mean, they're a medium priced brand. I think this is $30 and it has the two sides. It's apparently a really good dupe for the Tom Ford one, but of course that one's twice the price. I think this looks really beautiful, and you can get real precision. Okay, so let's curl these, and then I'm just going to throw on the YSL Black mascara, because it is my favorite mascara. For like heavy drama looks. And so it's the Lash Clash, and it's in the black. I think for like heavy drama, a couple of coats of Lash Clash is the best mascara you can get. I have a lot of different brands I really like. Like if you wanted something that was very subtle and fanned out, you could do the Prada. Lisa Eldridge one's really nice, but this is just a really good one that I really like all the time. And they have 3 colors, and they have some more that are coming. They have a green, which would actually be really cool with this one, or the blue would have been cool with this one too, if you wanted to take it in a more avant-garde kind of way. I love when people do like liners and lashes that are colored when they have a very neutral eye underneath it. But you can see just a couple of coats, and this does a really good job. Okay, wow, that is spectacular, that one. Okay, now for liners, if we want to go like full drama, I guess we could. For the one that is kind of more beigey, let's go with Victoria Beckham, and the one that's the sunrise one, or the sunset, or whatever the hell it's called, sunrise, sunset, whatever. I'm gonna go with Victoria Beckham in Orchid. It's maybe a little more purple than this, but I think it's gonna work pretty well. And then for the other one, you know, if we're going to go full drama, we might as well go full drama. So let me just grab a Pat McGrath black. I don't actually wear black liners a lot, but this look is so beautiful. I really like that quad a lot. And that is just smoky drama right there. So those both they're beautiful. So on this side we have Captivating Dawns, and then on that side we have Sunrise. I won't screw it up again. I probably will. Sunrise Safari. Now I have the YSL bronzer, and so I'm going to put just some of that on, just to warm up the complexion a little bit on the outside. I'm actually not going to do any contour or anything today because I'm taking this off and going to bed when I'm done. But I have the YSL bronzer, and I have mine in this shade 2. So I'm just going to warm up my complexion just a little bit. I like this Rephr brush. This is an 18. I know they just had a big sale, and now they're going to do more targeted sales. I've heard instead of site-wide, they're going to do more targeted ones. But 18 is really great because it can be used for a variety of things, because it's a great face brush, but it's not huge. And as you can see, I'm just warming it up. My skin does feel kind of like velvet, in the best way possible. It normally feels a little slippier than that when I wear that Dior, so I'm thinking that that's the sunscreen. But it's a very nice feeling, and it's a good amount of coverage. I'm not seeing a lot. Plus, speaking of the YSL, there's not much fallout at all. So I'm just gonna warm this up just a little bit here. Okay, so back to new products. We have the 2 new blush sticks. They're not brand new, but they did come out rather recently from Chanel. We have Refresh and I think it's called Recharge. It doesn't say on the bottom for some reason. One says Refresh, the other says Blush 24. I think it's called Recharge. One's orange, or kind of an orangey color. And the other one is, let me grab a denser brush. The other one is kind of a pink. They look kind of intimidating, but they're actually not. I do put them on my hand first. I think they would pull up. They're a little bit thicker, so I think they might pull up foundation if you put them directly on the skin. I suppose you could do dots with them and see, but this is an easy way to do it. This is the orange one, and I'm just going to get some on my brush here on my Rephr 24. And you'll see, as intimidating as it looks, it's more of a wash of color. It's a really nice product, though. I'm hoping for fall they come out with more of the cream to powder ones. But this is a nice product. It's very buildable, and you can see you can get a nice wash. Now, I could build this up, obviously, and keep getting color. But I think just this wash of orange looks really nice with that look. On the other side, we'll do the Refresh, which is the more pinky rose colored one. It looks like fuchsia in the tube, but again, it diffuses pretty nicely too. There's very little, if any, shine to these. They're pretty matte. Okay, so I'm gonna load my brush up with that. The brush does a nice job of picking up. You can see there's not that much product left on my hand. It gets on the brush, and then we're gonna work that in. And you can see if you just work lightly, you just get kind of a wash of color. It's nothing intense or insane like it looks like in the stick. Now you could obviously build it up, but this can show you that you can sheer it out as well. So this is the orangier one, and this is the more pink one. I think they both look really nice. For highlighter, I don't have a brand new highlighter. I have some coming. I have the new one from YSL coming. I think that one's in the pinkish color, and I have the new one from Prada coming. But they're not here yet, so I'm going to go back to my Gucci. This is Nude Opal, and this is a product I really like. You do have to use a very dense brush with the Gucci highlighters because they are more of a putty texture. I know when they first came out, a lot of people didn't necessarily like them because they felt like they couldn't get a lot of product off. Because if you're using like a fan brush or something, you're not. But if you use something that's a little bit denser, you can really get a nice product pickup. I'll do a little here too, but you can see there, I mean, that's a beautiful, like, kind of lit from within. This is in the shade Opal Pink, the nude shade. I believe it's number 4. I really like that. It reminds me of Peau de Pêche from Westman Atelier. So I wanted to, on this one side, since you've seen it now with the orange, I also want to go in just a little bit with the new YSL blush in Rose Haze, which is the new one that came out in the United States for summer. It's number 6 Rose Haze, and I'm just going to put some of that on top of that orange just so we would see. I normally wouldn't, but just to show you the color. And you can obviously see with the YSL blushes, they really pack a punch. And they have 4 or 5 colors that are in Europe right now that haven't hit the market here yet. I don't know if they will or not, but I do have those coming. So I'm going to do a pretty in-depth video of all the YSL colors and maybe compare them to like the Gucci and the RMS, because those are 2 of my favorites. So there you can see it kind of with that's over the orange, but you can see how much more it intensified that. It's a pretty color. Okay, so I got some new lip products while I was there, and I also got some eye products. So I went to, like I said, I went to Beyonce, and I was so excited, and I had my look all planned out. I was going to use that Victoria Beckham, the palette that has the grays and the blacks, the very smoky eye, because I wore an all black look. And then I got to Chicago and realized, as I'm getting ready for the concert, that the one thing I forgot was eyeshadow. So I ran down to Sephora. They didn't really have anything. I didn't want to buy something I already had. I really just needed something that was kind of silvery, and it was hard to find anything for some reason. But what I did grab was the Armani, I believe it's called Frost, the color. It's one of the new liquid Armani shadows, and it worked pretty well that night. I have the pink one of this, the rose gold one, and I liked it. This, I'll just show you. Obviously, I can't put it on today, but I'll just show you the color. And I'm going to put 2 layers of it just so you can see it built up. But it's just a really beautiful, silvery, periwinkle kind of liquid shadow. And these are a really nice product. I know a lot of people really like the matte ones. But it worked really well, and it looked just as good when I left the concert as when I went in. So I just wanted to show you that as a new purchase. I wasn't expecting to get, but I did. Some other things that I purchased that I wanted to show off, but I don't have the room for them in the whole video. But first I got the Isamaya. This is LM11, which I believe is called Rose Haze or something like that. It's not Rose Haze, that's the blush. It's one of her metallic lip glosses or lip balms. And so I'm actually going to show it to you today, but then I'm going to take it off. I just wanted to show you the color. I like her eyeshadow palettes, but I haven't tried any of her lip or anything else products, especially not since she's gone into Sephora. So I'm just going to show you this one. From my understanding, my best friend told me that this is the same color that was available in the Wild Star collection. So if you had that, then you probably wouldn't need this one. It's one of those frosted kind of lip balms. Okay, I will say it kind of has a dry texture. I don't know how forgiving it would be, but it's very pretty, as you could see. I think if I would have done a treatment on my lips, like my Dr. Dennis Goss, the Plump and Repair first, and let it sit for about 30 minutes and plump up, it would look a lot better. But it's a really cool color, and I like that a lot. It feels comfortable. Yeah, I like that. So that can show you that color, and it actually would go really beautifully with this look right here. But what I wanted to do instead today, I'm going to take this off, is I picked up one of the new YSL plumping lip glosses. I picked up this one in the brown color, the espresso color, because I thought it would look really beautiful with this look. So we'll try that today. I don't have any YSL liners, but I do have this one from Fenty and Traced Out, and this is in the color Extra Thigh. So I think it's going to work really well. These kind of 90s brownish colors are so popular right now. I've heard mixed reviews on these YSL plumping glosses. Some people don't like the smell or the burning. But I've always had very good luck with YSL lip products. So I'm going to try that. By the way, there were 2 other lip products I picked up while I was there. Well, actually, one I picked up, and then one was free with my YSL order. So I'm just going to show you those because I obviously can't put them on. But one I picked up, and it's viral, is the Givenchy, the black pH Balance lip gloss. Let me just show you what that looks like. Obviously, it's pretty sheer, but you can see it's got kind of a blackish purple base. It's a cool product, and it does change color slightly. On me, it's kind of a purpley mauve. And then YSL sent over a free lipstick sample with the YSL order. And this is in this shade RM. It's their red, their basic red shade. And so I was just going to show you what that looks like. Okay, that's beautiful. It's a dark, deep red. So I'll try to use that in a future video. Okay, so back to the purchases. I have the YSL Espresso, and I think it's going to work really well with that Fenty. I like the big, it has that kind of sweet smell that YSL glosses have, and YSL the Love Shines, but I like the big foot. Yeah, that works really well with that liner. And I'm actually going to just kind of smear it a little bit along where that liner was. But you can see it's got a cool brown color. It's not warm at all. Very nice. I normally don't like a line that defined, but I think it looks really cool with this. And this, I love together. That other, the SMA one would look really good with this one, or did look really good. So that's where we've been at. I'm sorry I had to throw so much into one video, but we've seen some new stuff from Isamaya, we've seen some new stuff from Merit, we've seen new YSL, we've seen new Danessa Myricks, we've seen a new Armani and Gucci, Givenchy, and I'm going to finish today with the Pat McGrath Glass 001 setting spray, which I really like. If you do 3 or 4 coats with about 30 seconds to a minute between each one, you'll really like the result. But otherwise, if you just want something that just sets and it has kind of a nice dewy finish, 1 coat will work really well with it. It has a really fine atomizer. I really like it for a glossy kind of finish. You can really amp it up. So if you like this kind of content, please consider shopping my links and subscribing. My lips are burning now, so it's working, but you can see they're turning a really beautiful color that looks really nice together. Actually, it works pretty well with both. And you can follow on Instagram and on YouTube, Unsolicited Advice, and we'll finish off with the Glass 001 setting spray and then the photos, and I hope to see you again really soon. Thanks so much.